If technology problems will happen, I think they're going to happen here on the Technologist Forum. One co host has been here a number of times, and the one that I'm talking about can't hear, she can see. I'm putting her business out there in these streets, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Technologist Forum. Y'all know me. James Hicks, Lord have mercy. I'm going to talk for Florence Donald because she's laughing at something. I don't know if she's laughing at, uh, at something on TV or not. But the other young lady to my side, oh my God. Listen, let me just take a picture real quick of this screen because I got these two dynamic women of influence on the screen. And like I said, last time we had Florence, I do want Stephanie to give that 35,000-foot elevator pitch of who she is, what she does, why in the world she's here with this crazy bunch of other folks. But Miss Garcia, we mind telling people who you are?
Of course. What's up, crew? My name is Stephanie Garcia, and I am a live video strategist. I help my clients go from unknown to unfreaking forgettable by leveraging live video. Because the thing is, if you are confident on camera, clients will be confident that you can get them results. So, welcome. Nice to see you.
Nice gangster. See how she do it? It's almost like she's practiced that every single day. Almost like she says that like on a regular basis, right? Listen, let me first and foremost, I see people jumping there. Dad, I see you there. You know, I'm 45 minutes off the plane, brother. So I appreciate you for being here. That means the show is official. Florence, whenever you do have audio and when you can speak, feel free to chime in because hopefully your mic is open. But today's topic wanted to bounce around and again, we talk about entrepreneurs, we talk about solopreneurs, we talk about creators. But we want to talk about folks just that are doing business that relates and involves video as well. Um, Off platform marketing, deciding which platform to use as your primary, but then moving to different platforms and things of that nature. So I'm making the assumption, and I rarely do, making the ass out of me and you, that YouTube for content creators is the platform of choice. But what do we do when we need to start moving away from that? We need to start moving and adding to the repository, adding to the toolbox. Stephanie, let me start with you because I want to tell Florence gets her. I want to get thumbs up from her that she's good. But when you think about that, because I know you do a lot of vertical video, you do a lot of UGC, and you can explain what UGC is if you want to as well. But outside of just the YouTube thing, and folks that are looking are to that level of where they need to branch out their businesses, what are your thoughts on that when I bring up about off platform?
I think of in-person events, so going from URL
Mm.
to IRL. And I think that's really going to be the missing piece these days because there's a lot of AI, there's a lot of deep fake, right? Fake influencers, fake voices, fake this and that. Sometimes even people, when they're publishing their videos, they remove all the filler words. And are they really saying the things that they actually know, or is that Chat
Yeah.
GPT? And so when you meet someone in person and you get to figure out what's their vibe, what's their aura, how do they present themselves? Do you actually have that vibrational like connection with them? You only really get that in person. And so when I think of off platform growth, I think of networking events, I think of masterminds, high level masterminds, webinars, things of that sort. Things where people can kind of like just meet you in person and get to really understand you, how you answer questions impromptu comes off a little bit differently than, a polished YouTube video.
Yeah. I laugh at that because literally so I'm not gonna put all my business out there in these streets, but yeah, I just got back literally again, like I say, 45 minutes ago from Vegas. I've been there for 8 days, and God, Vegas wears on you. But doing the thing, doing the jazz hands thing, as I call it, and meeting and networking and interacting, talking enterprise technology, but it's so much different. I love this because as long as I haven't seen you in person, that's the problem. But listen, me and Stephanie had a chance to break bread in person, and there is something different about that because besides just seeing my crazy head and my torso, but being able to sit at a table and converse and draw something on a whiteboard or the paper back of a napkin or something and have some strategy session. Just being able to see how people engage in person is so incredibly important. And creators, I mean, Stephanie's already given y'all a whole bunch of gems already just from the things that she said. But being imperfect is a great thing. Being completely honest, being completely transparent is a great thing. And a lot of times folks will cut that out of a video.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah,
8 to
yeah, yeah.
10 minute video, right, that they're trying to meet and match the algorithm and create, as opposed to getting the flubs and the ums and the ahs. Some of that is okay because, hey, I know that you're a real person. Lawrence, you agree with that?
You're a real
Stephanie,
person.
chime in.
Yeah. These days, when James texts me, I don't even use autocorrect. I'm like, this is me.
Yeah. Yeah, she called me
This
a
is me
couple
in
of
real
things, ladies and
time.
gentlemen. You know, she called me a few things. I'm not going to share them again. I'm not going to put her business out there, but she's called me a few things in these text messages. I don't have access to the notion. Damn. Okay.
You know what?
Oh, there she
This is
goes.
what we this is what we must remember. We live live. We live live. And depending on our industry, depending on our role, depending on who it is we must interact with, will many times determine how we are, how much we're virtual and how much we're in real life. I'll use myself as an example. I'm, corporate, I'm in healthcare, I'm in a very global environment. The majority of my team is not in the States. And many times, most of the actually all of the time, my clients are not even on the same coast that I'm on, or many times not even in the same country I'm in. Much of our interaction is virtual. So here's the difference: show up here the way you show up if you were sitting across the table from the person. Speak here the way you speak if you're having early breakfast with the person.
How come I always got to have food on
That
my?
is a
Oh,
skill to learn.
yeah. Okay.
However,
That is okay. And I'm being facetious. I'm being funny. Stephanie, I mean, I want you to chime in as well, but that's true, right? Again, it's so much easier to just show up as you. It's hard to try to be somebody else. For I'm talking to Florence at 1, and then at 3 o'clock when I talk to Stephanie, I act a completely different way. Man, it's just so much easier to, to show up as who we are, who you are. That's what people buy into, especially as creators, especially as content deliverers, especially as subject matter experts, right? If I'm going to show up and be kind of flippant and not personable, why are you going to send me a check? Why are you going to send? Why would you do business with someone who you don't really feel they're, you're not gelling with, you're not meshing with? And maybe this is the pivot that I want to go into, because understanding folks' actions, interactions, and the way they perceive themselves and they present themselves. Stephanie, you do a lot with that, right? Again, reading the room.
Oh yeah.
Talk a little bit about maybe if that falls into kind of the NLP type of practices and things, that right, being able to show up, present yourself as who you are, as your authentic self, and influence. I hate the word influence though, but you got to advocate. You know, my word is advocate, so I'm not going to use the word influence. But and neural linguistic programming, how does that work into, again, our world, our ecosystem?
Into our world. Yeah. So we have this belief in NLP where the meaning of communication is the response that you get. And so oftentimes I think as content creators, we have a way of explaining things online. And then when you're in a room, when you talk about reading a room, how I present to a room full of lawyers is very different when I'm presenting to a room of healers and
Mm,
meditation folks, right?
okay.
And so it's being able to shift your communication style in such a way that you could quickly build rapport with that particular audience. And that's easy for me to do when entering into a room, because certain communicators, if you're a visual person like me, I talk really fast. I talk with my hands. I jump from
Yeah.
one idea to the other. And I'm usually like abstract. But if you want me to go into the details, I could go into the details. Some people are just straight up, I'm going to tell you the details, all the little things. Like if I talk to Doc, Doc Rock is going to tell me what cables I need and HDMI. And I'm like, I'm not even there. You bring me to Daniel Chi. And I'm like, I can't, my brain just explodes. And so it's really, see, you don't talk about Florence. There's certain people where you could talk about big ideas, but knowing how to shift from big ideas, abstract, into the details. There are some people, when you're explaining things, they like to know a process. Sometimes when you're presenting, they want like a hands-on approach, right? And so having that flexibility, I think, is really key, because again, online, if you're live streaming or if I'm doing a recorded video, I'm only probably presenting it one way. But when I enter into a room as a speaker, oh, now I have to educate the different learning styles. So the more flexible you are, the better you are at communicating and getting the results for like more people in the room versus just one type of learner. Does that make sense?
That does. And
But
I'll
Stephanie,
go
I'm
ahead,
going to
Florence.
ask you.
Yeah,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
ask you a question, because I think I heard you say it without saying it. You must know who your audience is, whether it's one person or 1,000 persons, whether it's in a virtual meeting or whether it's in an in-person meeting. You must know who your audience is. When I'm talking to a bunch of physicians, that's one language, versus when I'm talking to a group of board members where I sit on a board. That's very different. We have different goals,
Yeah.
right? To your
Yeah.
point, if you walk in a room of attorneys, you know how you shift, you know
Or
how
a
they
different,
think, what they're listening for, what they're going to pay attention to.
yeah.
My conversation is more about this interactive virtual versus recording and just putting it out. Because there is a difference there. But don't you have to learn to read the room in both?
You do. And there's flexibility in that too, because oftentimes, and I think sometimes even when you're instructing, even online, I'll ask things where it's very much like, does that make sense? And that's more for like an auditory digital learner. Or are we on the same page? That's more of like a kinesthetic learner. And so
Do you see
having
what
been
I'm
a,
seeing? Or do you
yeah, do you
see what
see
I'm
what I'm seeing?
saying?
Yeah, do you hear what I'm, do you hear the words that I'm putting down? It's I think as a trainer, it comes naturally now to me. But I notice that when I'm doing a lot of speaker coaching, some people are kind of like, they have this death grip on, this is how I've always done it. And I'm like, oh, you got to be
Yeah.
a little bit more flexible. And especially if you're going to be online, because sometimes I feel like some folks don't have that intonation or they forget to smile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you should smile because right now you are a little way too serious.
Yeah.
And I just have this belief that if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And if you're ever teaching or you're trying to communicate with people, sometimes it's a matter of getting on that level with them instead of just talking to a wall. But yeah, I love in-person presentations.
I mean okay, so that matters and that makes sense. I took myself off camera because I was taking notes. I just want to make sure that when I do what I do, that I'm doing the right thing and it's being blessed by SG and NFD here, ladies and gentlemen. Keep putting your questions in there. Worthy, I see you only show up because Stephanie and Florence are here. Boy, don't never show up for no shows. Okay. But welcome, Mr. Worthy. We appreciate you, brother. Um, as creators who again live online, live on YouTube, live on Instagram, what the kids using now? These kids still using Snapchat? I don't know what they're using. Or is it what's the one that they use? The TikTok.
I can't, I honestly can't tell you. I don't have young people living with me.
So, but
Well,
okay. So
he
that being
thinks he
said,
is.
our engagement, I even say our deployment model, right, for each of those different platforms should be different, or should it not be different, right? Should I, the way I do a 16 by 9 10-minute or 60-minute video for YouTube, is that different than my 3-minute reel on Instagram or TikTok, and how do you recommend we put that message out? How we recommend that we boost engagement when we only have 3 minutes versus 60 minutes, and how do we show up appropriately to actually get our message across? I'm just throwing questions out there because again, selfishly, I want to just hear you ladies speak.
Well, I was going to say you could say it however which way that you want to, but if your goal is to boost engagement, it's kind of like every platform is its own country. And so it has
Mm,
its own dialect for how they communicate. And so you'll often hear things about having to have a hook, whether that's visual or audio or certain things like that to really communicate with your audience. Like even now when I script long form videos, which is crazy to say, it's like 3 to 5 minute videos. It's like every like 90 seconds there's an open loop to help the audience watch until the very end of the video. Same thing
mm.
if it's going to be a short form video, it's like every 30 seconds here's another loop, here's another loop. But wait, there's more. Right. So but it's very different, especially if I'm going to be doing an in-person training. I'm not going to speak in hooks. I am going to have certain structures, like let's say the charisma pattern or nested open loops, embedded loops, things like that to do a training. But I think, again, the person with the most flexibility controls the level of communication, especially the results that you want.
I'm waiting for a particular word. I'm setting you guys up. Now, I know the word that I want. I'm waiting for someone to say the word, and when one of you says it, I'm gonna hit a music trigger or something. I'll play some Jay Z or play some Nas or something. So I'm
Oh
waiting.
my
You guys are
goodness.
getting close to where I'm trying to take this train. But uh, Florence, your thoughts on that?
I,
Again, creating content,
Stephanie
engaging.
just said it.
Okay.
Each platform has its own language.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same as each profession, each part of an organization has its own language. You and I came out of or are in the technology world. And the thing we know is communication, they're sending it, but you've got to get the acknowledgement that it was received. It's not the recipient's responsibility, it's the sender's responsibility. We learned that day one in technology.
Yes.
The second thing we learned was garbage in, garbage out. I was listening to someone yesterday talk about uh, learning to prompt. And
Mm.
I wanted to say this because I'm hoping someone will agree with me. If you've been terrible at asking questions, learning to prompt will help you because it's all about getting very crystal clear on the question you're asking so that the recipient then knows enough to be able to respond to you. To me, engagement is the same. If I want the person to respond, I need to ask a clear enough question or make a clear enough statement that's not a closed statement that invite them to respond.
Agree. 100% agree.
You're close too. Y'all, I'm just keep playing this
We are
sadistic.
not cooperating with him right now.
I'm just going again. My mind is still 35,000 foot in the air, ladies and gentlemen. It was a little turbulent on the ride back home, so your boy is still
Oh,
bouncing back and forth. It is what that is. Um, let's get to a question that came in, and I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna put this in perspective because I think it makes sense where you guys are talking about, and I want to challenge the audience and challenge the folks that are going to hear it now and hear it later to go out and do the thing to do better. So Tornado's in the building. If your voice starts sounding like everyone else's hook and call to action, when do you think someone stops being themselves and starts becoming a template? That's a jab at using LLMs right there. What do you guys
Oh,
think? What do you
interesting.
guys think about that?
If your voice starts sounding like everyone else's hooks and CTAs, well, I mean, when did you decide to use everyone else's hooks and CTAs? I
Oh
think if
my
you
god,
understand the formula, then you would just do it yourself.
you
another call
know,
to action.
old fashioned writing and having your own voice is still relevant. the three of us will have a very similar concept, or we will have a fact, because the fact is the fact. The way we express that fact, however, will be different. We come from different backgrounds, we have different education, we have different life experiences, all of which influences the way we express that thought, that idea, that concept, even the fact.
Mm.
And using an LLM and simply spitting back out whatever it says removes you. You've got to have you in it. People resonate with people, not with all this gear that we have.
Yeah.
People resonate with people.
It's too easy to cheat anyway, right? There's no value in, and I don't necessarily want to call it cheating, but it's too easy to go down that path. And just think about it as well. I just spent the last few days on stage. You know, Stephanie lives on stage. You can't fake it when you're in person. There's no cliff notes. There's really hardly any flashcards. If you don't know what it is you're talking about, the whole body. This when I'm standing and I'm 6 feet and I'm standing in front of you, I can't fake it if I don't know my material and if I'm just mailing it in. I guess
There's no
that's where I'm
excuse for
going.
not knowing your material.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no
There
excuse.
is literally no excuse. Like, sit
Yeah.
down.
They
Go
sit
sit down.
Yeah. Okay. Like I'll tell you a quick story. When I had to go through trainer's training for NLP, it's a full 18-day training. And in that process, my master trainer would pop up and he'd be like, Stephanie, tell me about some modalities. And I would have to explain some modalities in my own words, use my own metaphors, and use my own stories in such a way to show that I know this. And so when you are considered the expert, there's no excuse for you not knowing what you should know if that's going to be your platform. But again, there's nothing wrong with saying like, hey, you know, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that. But as long as you're genuine, but if you're like always chat GPTing everything, this is why I'm like, get them on a podcast, get them on a live stream. I want to hear them actually say that. Because you know what drives me wild is that you'll see these people doing like these short form videos and they're spouting like knowledge and gems, but the second you put them on stage and then you ask them the same question, they can't repeat it back verbatim. And I'm like,
yeah.
I see
You were reading.
Everyone's an expert. But hold on. So what? I want to go back to what you just said, Joshua. What's up, man? See you in the building. When your master NLP practitioner told you to say something, what was the statement that you just made? Say that what you just said again. Just that first part.
There's no excuse for not knowing your material.
And the way that you delivered it was how?
In person. I mean, just off the top of my head.
Impromptu.
You told stories.
I told stories. Yeah.
Man, I just wanted to use my trigger. I just wanted to use my
stories. That Florence, that's what he's trying to get us to say.
That's the word that I'm trying
to get us to say stories. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah, I think a lot of times if you're going to be creating content online, and I tell this to my speaker clients, I'm saying you should have a story bank, and later down the line you might use it as a metaphor, or it might be some type of state that you want to anchor into your audience. So whether it was like you have a story about frustration or overwhelmed or procrastination, but maybe you also have a story about when you were inspired, when you were determined, when you were focused, and now I'm going to take action. I think that's going to add a bit more flavor to your copy, to your stories, and the content that you put out there, versus just regurgitating, oh, this is what Jay Shetty said. Napoleon Hill. I read that book.
That's it. That's the important piece. And that's how I'm maybe just in my own crazy head trying to bring this back to, again, off-platform growth. Again, we do a lot of recorded videos. They're 8 to 10 minutes or however long. But if you could tell a story anywhere, not just on video, but also in person. If I can tell you a story by out there having coffee with you or eating snacks, because me and Stephanie always eating snacks. If I could tell a story to you that resonates, that's about the subject matter, that brings credibility, brings my authenticity, that brings my advocacy. Because again, I hate the word influence, but that helps build engagement, I think. And I don't know if you can teach people to tell stories. Maybe I'm wrong. Can you do that? I know you I can't
You can.
motivate somebody else.
You actually can teach people to tell stories, but I'm going to take it one step a little deeper.
Okay.
The more the stories are ones you've experienced, because you don't have to do so much work. Your experience is your experience, right? So when you can tell a story about having to show up at some crazy hour, midnight, because you're dealing with a client issue and the client is frustrated and you have to maintain your composure to get through this challenge with this client. When that's your story and you've lived it, telling on myself, I don't have to think about it. I can visualize the exact scenario and who I was talking to and what it sounded like. Or another, learning to be a woman in a very male dominated industry and walking into there was a project, 11-story building, doing a complete top to bottom renovation. I was responsible for the construction project and walking on site in high heels, and they didn't think I was serious until I walked in and I told the GC the door was crooked, and he was like, "No, it's not." I was like, "Get the level." He's like, "How did you know that?" So I looked at it. I know what I'm doing. And at that point was when I got the respect, because I knew what I knew and I didn't need their validation. The fact that I had on high heel shoes became less important to them. By the way, they did give me a pink hard hat, which you can see right there.
Go ahead, child.
Behind
Go
me.
ahead, girl.
They were like, "The boss is in the building. We see the pink hard hat." But just draw from your own life. Not hard. It's your life. No one else has lived it but you.
That's my answer to, again, back to creative solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people that are out here in these digital streets. That's my answer to them when they say they're having a hard time with the algorithm. Because I think that's a lot of trash, to be honest with you. The reason that you're having issues, and this is just my opinion, I'm only an expert on the internet. That's the only place I can say I'm an expert, is because you haven't gone out and done the thing. You haven't gone through the cycles. You haven't gone through some journey, and until you, and whatever that journey is, it doesn't matter. Whatever your subject matter is, expertise is, that you're saying that you are. If you haven't gone out there and lived your truth, like Stephanie was saying a second ago, how are you going to be an expert in a 3-minute reel when someone really asks you, okay, so explain that to me in a much deeper level, at a 201, 301 level. Explain what you told me in 3 minutes that you were an expert on, if you can't tell that to me in person. That's the thing right there, where I think a lot of creatives are trying to be someone who they're not. And that's the challenge.
Yeah.
And they're blaming it on an algorithm or something like that. Where am I wrong? Tell me, Steph.
I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, I
You're
have
not
like
wrong.
this one client where he was saying at one point he was creating content and it blew up because of the algorithm, and he got like 1 million followers within like a span of weeks and whatnot. And then he did some self inner work and he found that what he was posting online no longer matched with who he was. And so he had like this internal conflict of, do I keep going down that path of creating content that doesn't align with me, or do I start talking about what I'm passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you should probably do what you do best. I mean, everyone's so concerned about the algorithm, where I'm more concerned about like the human rhythm. Like when I move, you move, just like that, right? Like if I say something and you laugh and you giggle,
Hold on. Slow down, player. Slow down. Come on.
then I know like we're
Y'all,
vibing. I know I'm in the right room. You know what I'm saying?
I hope
So
somebody
I'm
picked up
about
on that.
the human rhythm. Like I want to see the head nods. I want to see the smiles. I want to see you like writing it down. Like that's the stuff that I love. As much as I love live streaming and doing videos and whatnot, put me in a room full of people, and if I could just motivate the masses, oh, I'm so happy.
I'm waiting for the 8-second delay. I'm waiting for Steve Worthy to respond right now to the little bar that you just dropped, because I don't know if anyone else would get it, but we'll see. Come
That's how
on,
you
brother.
know you're in the right room. That's how you
You,
know.
you, you,
Little squirrel
when you
moment.
have people who are locked in on what you're saying, how you're saying it, the what, and they're getting out of it what they need to move from where they are to where they want to go.
Mm,
There's there's a magic that you can't replicate in that. There is a joy that comes from just saying I was able to do my little part or my big part, however you phrase that, to help transform this person. I taught a class this week, and then I had some of the students come back and have some additional sessions, and one of the students said to me, when we show up, you need to be the first person who teaches your class for 2 to 4 hours before we start doing this consulting thing,
mm,
because they get thrown into these environments and they don't know how to function. They don't know how to stay organized. They don't know how to find their information. And so, what should take them 10 minutes takes them 2 hours. So, I teach them how to do the thing and have the techniques and the tools ready and the processes to do that thing in 10 minutes, and then use the rest of the time to bring additional value.
mm. What's
What I which is exactly what I do on my channel and
yeah?
in my written content.
Go ahead. Little plug right there.
That's what I, because it's where it's genuinely where I live.
Shouts out to Lawrence Donald
In all of
Live.
this technology stuff, that's secondary
Yeah,
because it comes and goes. It
just
changes.
plugging.
I've seen too much change. But that transformation
Mm.
that happens when a person understands how they function, magical. Magical.
Again, so can you teach that?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
You
yes, you
can.
can.
Oh, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
How?
It's funny because I'm just to tie this back to AI, because I feel like a lot of times when people are creating content, they just want to put out more information, more information.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about more information, it's about transformation. It's about how do you get someone out of their own head with like their limiting beliefs, their fear, their uncertainty, their doubt, and start planting these seeds of belief of, "Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Why not me? Oh, if she could do it, I could do it." Right? That's the part I feel like is really going to be the difference that makes the difference, whether you're training or leading a group or you're trying to create some type of change in an organization. That's the part that's really missing, because especially if you're working in tech, I mean, you could Google it, you could chat GPT it,
Yeah.
they'll find information, but they need someone to get them to help them get out of their own way, call them out on their blind spots.
I'm
Because
letting that
sometimes
marinate.
people are so like they have this death grip on their POV. And sometimes you just got to walk around them and be like, but have you thought about this? So
That
that's a good opportunity.
Stephanie, I was given a nickname, which I was like, I don't know if I like that, but I was working with a client, a very large client, and I would never make a statement. I would always ask questions. Every meeting, the only thing I did was ask questions.
mm,
And one of their leaders came to me and said, "You are such a silent killer. They don't even see you coming because you just ask questions. And by the time you get to the questions, they hear how silly they sound. And now the
mm.
real work can start because now we can get to where we need to get to. We can
That's really
solve the
good.
problem we want to solve because you've heard yourself answering.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't hear me telling you. You heard yourself answering the question and you talked yourself to where you needed to be. My job was just help you get there by asking you the right questions.
We facilitate that journey. Yep. We guide them on that journey.
Yeah.
I'm loving where this is going because I'm going to bring it and tie it back to off platform growth for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and digital creators, because stepping out of comfort zones You said something that I say a lot of time too. That's falling out of my head, Stephanie. Getting out of your own way. Right, that whole mentality, right? You, the only way I really think that you can grow and can become that advocate, can become that subject matter expert, that trusted advisor, all those adjectives that you want to use, is by doing this right here, right? Is speaking that truth, having the validation, having the backup, not just having the right prompt to write and feed it into a chat or a Claude or a Cosmo, whomever, right? Any of the things. Anybody that you paying the $20 for a month, pay that money to, I don't know, Stephanie Garcia to one of her classes or something, and then you get some real value. But I think that's really where folks can kind of get out of any ruts that they may be in, right? If they're not making, if they're making all these videos and they're feeling that they're not getting the engagement, they're not getting the attraction, they're not getting the revenue, they're not getting fulfillment, whatever that is from that perspective. Know when and know how to branch and show more of your expertise in other ways. Get from just behind the microphone and the office and the lights, get in front of a stage. Write a cool ass newsletter or something, right? Get on Substack or School or wherever the other places may be and show some expertise that way. So, right, use both sides of your brain. See, little NLP there. Is that right? Little.
There you go.
Well,
There you
y'all
go.
act like I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. See,
Stop pretending.
listen.
But James, this is the thing. For those who are in the content creation game industry, whatever term you want to use, people learn in different ways. Therefore, it is imperative that we deliver the content, the facilitation in different ways. Some may need to hear music. Some may need to read a long form newsletter. Some may need to read tweets. Some may need to watch a video and then sit in a class or the reverse. Some may need to sit across the table from you and have the interaction. Some may need to sit in a crowd and think that they're being unseen and they're soaking up the information. Here's the key. All of that goes out the window if the person is not first willing to take action. Because you can pour and pour and pour and pour. Person has to be willing to take action. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to be saved.
Oh my God.
You cannot help a person who does not recognize that they need help and are willing to accept it. Because it has to start with the person and they have to be willing to take action. You can deliver in the modalities that the person can receive it and then take the action.
Yeah.
Before we go
that.
on, I want to backtrack to a statement here that was made by Erica. She says she actually lost a client by asking too many questions, right? So Florence, you excelled at that particular product or project by being the sniper or whatever you call it. I forgot what you called yourself. I'm sorry. I was paying attention,
It's
but
okay.
I forgot. But Erica says she lost a client that way. You have any thoughts or suggestions or statements on that?
You have to be able to read the room.
Ooh, there you go.
You have to be able to read the room. That room may be you and one other person or you and 1,000 people. You must be able to know who you're talking to.
I love that. And I think you also, I think when it also comes to communication, it's nice to have a variety in your toolkit. So asking questions, that's one hammer, right? Sometimes you might need to do something a little bit different.
Yep.
Sometimes people are motivated by the carrot, some people are motivated by the stick. When you know what someone's motivation strategy is, what their learning strategy is, I think that's what makes you a better consultant, a better educator, a better facilitator. So it's nice to know asking questions is a great way for deeper reflections and whatnot. But again, pull from the other ways that you could get someone's curiosity, how to pique that curiosity and get them excited about it. I remember this one time when my daughter was having trouble with a video game, right? And she was trying to explain to her dad like why it wasn't working. And he wasn't getting it because he's not in her world. In her own world, this is how it works. In his world, he didn't know what it meant. And so she kept repeating it, kept repeating it. And I was like, baby girl, in this moment, daddy is not the teacher. You're the teacher. So think of him as the student. How would you explain this to him as the student? Because you just repeating the same thing over and over doesn't mean he's going to get it. So try a different approach. And then she's like, oh, I'm the teacher? Now she's like role playing. She's like, oh, I'm the teacher. And so she's like, oh, okay, so you're like a baby. Let me explain it to you. So then she took this idea and she was able to break it into parts. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like even as a young child, I was like, yeah, you have to learn from your toolbox. Which one are you going to pull from? Because
But that
not
means you
you
have to
can't
have
hammer everything.
developed those.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
As a communicator, you must have developed. Sometimes the best way for me to break through is to create something. And when I first have the conversation, no questions. I just say, hey, take a look at this and let me know, give me some feedback. You know why? Many people can tell you what they don't like by seeing what you give them faster than they can tell you what it is they want. They can look at anything, a meal, a deck, an image, if they're listening, or a document, and they can say, that's not what I want. I want this, 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 and this. And you get to the answer faster by giving them something to respond to.
So open ended.
That's another bullet that you can pull. You can play.
Yeah.
No, well,
But you have to know
that's
that.
gonna be another reel that I'm gonna do in about 3 hours. You're gonna be all over the internet, and that's what that's gonna be. Oh, that's what that's
You
gonna
and your
be.
reels.
I they the truth over
Yeah.
here. Don't sleep on your
So,
boy.
but Stephanie said it comes back to communication.
Yeah.
All of it comes back to everything we do comes back to communication, conveying ideas, messages, thoughts effectively for the person they're intended to reach.
Yeah. I love this conversation because my daughter, she's in what, the 5th grade now. And oftentimes I'll ask her, well, how did your teacher explain it?
Mm.
Did you like that explanation? What do you need instead? Okay, let's go on the internet. Let's find a YouTube video to help fill in those gaps. You know, she's very much a hands-on learner. And so, I mean, you're going to find me on the kitchen table doing science experiments and baking soda and vinegar. But that's how my baby girl learns. And I appreciate it when educators take the time to be flexible in their communication. And I hope as adults in the workforce and the workplaces, we still want to level up our communication skills. Like everyone's so gung ho about like the hard skills, like learn AI, learn this, but I still think that there's a time and a place for soft
There we
skills,
go. There we
and
go.
especially in communication, because the most important communication ever is the conversation that you have with yourself. The conversation of you saying, I can do this.
Lord
I
have
believe
mercy.
in myself. I should invest in myself. And yes, I'm going to take action. And I'm committed. I'm disciplined. Like, where is that conversation these days? Like, where people like, oh, you know,
Stephanie, I'm sure you know what you say when you talk to yourself. Everyone should read that book. Everyone should read that
Yeah,
book. What you
man.
say when you talk to yourself is so much more powerful than what anyone else will say. You can have Stephanie could talk to me for the next 15 years. And as wonderful she is, if I'm still repeating in my head, I can't, I won't, it's too hard. You want me to keep going? All of her work is not going to go anywhere. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to take action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take action
mm-hmm.
because I don't believe it. And I'm not even saying to myself, let me try a little. I love to just try a little bit, not a whole bunch, just one tiny step. Stand up in front of your family and give a talk. Eventually, that'll turn into a stage of thousands of people. Let's try a little bit. But you got to believe it. And that belief comes from, what are you saying to yourself? I have a habit that I've had since I was in my 20s. Every day, I write down a win. Some days it's, I didn't burn the eggs. That's my win.
Okay.
Some days it's, I had a phenomenal, I signed a great deal. Some days it's, like today it's going to be, my audio was broke, but finally figured it out and didn't ruin James's show. That's a win.
It's working now?
Perfect.
It's working.
Perfect.
Oh, okay. I was like still pausing because I was like, oh, there's like the delay.
Yeah, it's working. So
Stephanie was building that little
goes back
5,
to
8
what
second.
you're saying to yourself, because you
I
recognize
was.
that you're winning. Right? So it goes to, you're recognizing you're winning. And I wrote something to my community, I think it was yesterday, about this habit. And it came from, in my 20s, in this very non-woman industry, giving myself pep talks. But I started doing it shortly after I read the book, What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. I read that book when I was in my 20s. I'm not going to tell you how old I'm now. But it was a long, 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 long time ago.
Yeah, we're not going to put you out
But you
there.
know, it still stands true is leaders are readers. And there's so many books out there that I feel like people should still be reading. And like a part of me is like, as much as I love short form video and whatnot, sometimes to really understand the depth of a concept, pick up a book, go through it. Because sometimes I'll hear like these catchphrases and I'm like, that didn't originate from that person. That actually comes from this long line of other orators, right? So like the new school of like Gen Z, they're like, oh, I really like this person because they said this. I'm like, he didn't say that. Napoleon Hill did. He didn't say that. Stephen Covey did. He didn't say that.
Everybody doing the remix. Nobody know the original. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, everyone's doing this remix. I'm like, okay, I got it. Cool.
I love that. I love it. I'm smiling again like a proud uncle, just for the fact that again, so folks that are listening, and you guys all know me, and even Stephanie and Florence know me too. I throw something out there, and it's half baked. It's not completely ready, but I know somewhere in the dialogue, in the discussion, there's going to be a lesson, and it's going to come back to fruition. We started talking about off-platform growth, leaning into entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, creators, and talking about doing the thing, respecting the process. Finally got someone to say the word that I was looking for. Finally got someone to say the word tell stories, which opened up into communication, which opened up into what do you say when you talk to yourself? Because you can't lie to yourself because you're not going to, when you're looking at the man in the mirror, don't try to lie to him because he's going to tell you, she going to tell you the truth. Right. And that's, I think, really that next hurdle to growth. That's that next couple of steps to getting better, one for yourself and for who you're trying to serve as a community. Because we as entrepreneurs, that's mostly what we're trying to do. We're trying to serve a community and help other folks get to another point. All right, we have a little bit of expertise, a little bit more than you have, but right, and again, that's why you pay us for it, and that's why we come in to give you that expertise and set you on that path. And if we don't know how to articulate the value, not just say a whole bunch of words and not just up there and regurgitate something that's come out of Chat GPT, but actually I've experienced something. I'm on a soapbox right now, y'all. Listen again. I've been on stage all week. Your boy is, but this is where we're going, right? Again, make sure that you keep the main thing, and you don't blame the wrong thing for your apparent short-term non-growth. Because this is a marathon. This is, we're not out here just trying to make overnight successes, and no one, I think, that's in our communities, no one who's listening or watching, no one on the screen wants an overnight success. I'm gonna say that we want to go through some of the struggle. We want to fall down and then get back up so we can learn from that and then teach the next person coming. Hey, watch out for this hurdle right here. Don't jump out in the middle of the street because here comes a car. That kind of stuff. there's value in learning. We just talked about that
Mhm.
stuff. We just mentioned that again. Read. Oh my gosh, come on, folks.
Read. Yeah.
Read.
A lot of times, so we talked
Okay,
about
I'm sorry.
stories.
Yeah.
We talked about stories, and your stories is really meant to take your stumbling blocks and turn them into stepping stones for who you want to lead along the way. So just keep that in mind. Like, keep your story banks, turn them into stepping stones so that way someone else doesn't have to go through what you went through, whatever it is. Yeah. And then go about it that way. Come back, James. You're saying something.
I'm
Mhm.
just setting them up. I'm just throwing like kerosene
So
all over the fire. And
I
as
have a question for you, James Hicks.
oh no, leave me
You're
out of
talking
this.
about we're
Okay.
circling around this, having a conversation about off-platform. I'm going to say community building. As you're, as I hear that, are you thinking non-social media? And that was a weird way of saying it, but I
No,
said it that way intentionally.
no, I know what you're saying because you positioned
Or are
earlier
you
about
saying that
yeah,
in addition to whatever you do in person, whether you do meetups
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
conferences you host yourself, or conferences you attend and present at? Um, is it because we know the whole rented land thing is done? Like everybody should be
Mm.
like over that. What are you where are you coming from with this conversation
Yeah, don't
from
get
that
started
perspective?
talking about Reddit land because then I'll pivot and go into no drive by live streams, and I learned that from the lady standing to my left or you, yeah, you. There's still some phrases that I use from OS, and I appreciate and I know why you're asking that because when I put it out there in the notes and you updated Notion and you said you wanted to go start talking about school and about using that platform to grow, I really
Mm.
that was the half baked bit of this conversation that I wanted. I wanted to go into a whole ad lib type of direction. So again, not just talking about platforms, not just talking about tools, not just talking about things, but talking about how, not just the what's. Right. So we talked about learning for ourselves, about staying on top of our craft, about reading books, about not just being in front of a camera and doing videos, but going to conferences, participating, presenting, engaging, doing all of that. That's those things are easy to do, as opposed to again, maybe spending however much you're paying on an annual basis for that platform to pivot your community, right? We want to do that as well, but what are some low hanging fruit? What are some things that people can take away from this conversation, and three things that people can go do today and get out of their own way, get a little bit better, not worry so much about my engagement rates or my average view rate, right? Not worry about that stuff, but get just a little bit better personally as they go through this journey. So long answer short, I mean, I appreciate why you asked that because you thought I was going to go in one direction, but again, I just threw a grenade in the middle of the room and was just waiting for it to go off. And
No, I didn't. I wasn't thinking anything one way or the other. I'm just curious where you're coming from. So I'm going to let Stephanie answer
oh, you didn't like my
first,
answer?
because she's going to
Okay.
give a much
Oh,
more elegant answer than I'm going to
oh,
give.
see, my answer wasn't elegant either. See,
I'm going to give you,
I'm just gonna go off camera. Get y'all.
yeah, my answer is not going to be that elegant.
Man, I
So, what are my thoughts when it comes to off, was it off platform growth? What are my thoughts about that?
Other than doing what we're doing here, social
Yeah.
media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, Blue Sky, all of those, LinkedIn, but building a community off of those platforms someplace else, whether it's Circle or Mighty Networks or Kajabi or
Oh, I see. So, like
or
another digital land?
a digital land, a digital community, and maybe even pairing it, right, with the physical community. Because
Sure.
a little bit about my background, and but I mean, the community, one of the biggest communities in the world are is houses of worship,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're all stripes, sizes, but houses of worship, those are communities that are built. Today, they have their physical presence and their online presence. I submit they're of course content creators. Somebody standing up creating content every week,
Yeah.
multiple times a week. They're not yet at the place where they understand really, I don't think, building this online digital community that's not a Facebook, and they can Facebook can make a decision as a corporation to do something totally not supportive of where they're going. And they have their community members are, and we can extrapolate this to us as individual business owners, have too many other things that are distractions when they're in these public spaces. So they're not focused on the thing we're trying to help them transform, be
Mm.
transformative about. If you can get them out of that, then you can have a, I believe, a deeper reach with them. I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts.
I agree. I so my specialty is in communication, and I specialize in NLP and timeline therapy. And oftentimes when people find out about that, they'll say like, "Oh, I read a book," or "I heard about this," or "I listened to a podcast," and whatnot. And I think the difference is that when you're actually in a community of people that specialize in that, it's different from trying to go at your own pace because you'll cherry pick what it is that you want versus someone calling you out on your stuff. Because even in the world of NLP, like some people might know about anchoring or they might know something about open loops, but do they know how to put it all together? And I think that learning, when you put them in a learning environment where it feels like they have a lot of psychological safety to play around and have fun, then it makes it a lot easier for them to learn. But if they're just doing it online, um, some really good facilitators will have really great breakout rooms. But I feel like sometimes when you have it in person, then it makes it a lot easier for people to create a stronger neural connection for how they're learning it, because they don't just read it, they see it, they feel it, they talk to someone, they have a conversation about it, they could reflect on it. That makes it a whole heck of a lot faster to learn versus just cherry picking, oh, which drive-by podcast do I want to listen to now? But either way, I would say how we're building communities. So we have a community here in San Diego full of real estate investors and entrepreneurs. And every last Thursday of the month, we call it Margaritas and Mingle, and we just meet people in our community. And whether they want to follow us online, to whether it's a podcast, YouTube, things of that sort, that's how they could deeper connect with us. But in person, I feel like that's when you bypass the whole judging of like, should I really follow that person? Because once they get a feel for you, then they're like, oh, okay, I align with you, I like your story, I see where you're coming from. I'm about that. Like, James will tell you this, I'm definitely one of those people where I don't follow motivational advice from, you know, let's say white men. I can't relate. So I'm not going to listen to that.
Come on.
I'm probably going to find another creator who might mirror my background and understand the challenges that I might have and that I might face. So meeting them in person is always a pleasure.
You see the
Okay.
melanated co-host, right? On purpose
Yeah.
here. On this is on purpose, right? I mean, again, because we're not out here as, appreciate you saying that first and foremost. But this is all conscious as well, so folks can see. Oh, you look like me. You sound like me. You come from Hampton, Virginia, just like me as well, or wherever. That's where my family's from. But you can relate to from a either a cultural perspective, from just a background perspective, just upbringing, whatever the case may be. So that again brings authority. That brings comfort in the conversation. That first couple of seconds of meeting you in person or meeting someone in person, if I can find that soft skill, that that intellectual piece, that personality trait, whatever the case may be, that matches with something that makes me comfortable, I may open up just a little bit more. And I'm saying I
Yeah.
just being very generic, but I'm again just very happy that you said that because I never hide it. Listen, we out here trying to get more folks in these streets and getting these Google checks or whatever checks that you need. We done playing, folks. We talking to business people who are trying to level up themselves and level up their communities as well. Lawrence wants me to be
You,
quiet. I,
James,
I
since
can
you
just see
went
you
there,
rolling your eyes.
I'm gonna
Why you
I'm
rolling your
gonna
eyes
throw
every
this
time I
out
talk?
there. We talked about
My show.
working with people, whether it's individuals or organizations, working with people to help them transform.
Yeah,
Stephanie does a lot of education. So there's
yeah.
a transformation, and clearly she's working with clients. In this content creation world, there's something I've noticed. I'm not going to use your words, but they're so applicable. I'm going to encourage everyone who wants to grow their business, be willing to invest in growing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
How can you expect anyone to invest in you if you can't even invest in yourself?
If you're and everyone is at a different place with respect to that. So I'm not trying to spend anybody's paycheck. For whatever that is for you where you are, be willing to invest something in yourself. I share the same principle with young consultants.
Mm.
Gone are the days when you went to a company and you worked 8 hours a day, and if they wanted you to be trained, they would give you 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 2 weeks to go off and not produce the thing you're supposed to be producing to be trained. That train has left the station, it is
Mm.
not coming back.
Yeah.
So even if you're employed and you're, as I call it, bivocational, in both worlds, it's imperative that you're willing to invest in yourself some way. Everything cannot be quote unquote free. If it is, there is a problem somewhere. Either the person is not growing themselves, and so they're repeating the same thing. They haven't leveled up, they haven't gotten to a different level of understanding. Or there's a different problem.
You don't have to
I'm going
mince
to leave it
words.
there.
Don't see you over there trying. You reaching like for the word. Like you like if we get a
I'm going to be
strike.
nice.
Listen, no.
I'm
If
going
we
to be
get a
good.
strike, it's all
Stephanie
right.
hasn't been with me. This is her first time. I'm not going to show out, Mr. Hicks.
That's all good. Let me do this. Let me say this because I want to be cognizant of folks' time. Um, and here I'm about to bring up my analogy. And Stephanie, maybe you can help me with my analogy. I think you've heard it before too, and I got to come up with another one. We kind of the crack dealer one. We gave people just a little bit just now. It gave them that crack just now, and they're gonna want some more, so they got to come back. I do. I know I have to come up with another analogy, and I apologize for
Yes, you need another one.
but you can maybe not personally relate. I know I don't, but
Yeah,
you
no,
can
I can't
understand.
relate to
Folks can
that.
understand. I would just say that this is the conversation that matters, and we could have gone in multiple different directions just with what was going on right now. Um, Premium conversations, conversations above the noise, conversations that matter, make you think. I'm gonna put the links to both of your websites in the description. We talk about books. Definitely done read about 5 books. Go get one of them. I won't even put my affiliate link in them. I'm just gonna put it just straight out there. I'm not even gonna get the little revenue from it. I just want you to go get social media mark, the ultimate guide. Good Lord, the ultimate guide to influencer marketing. Got another one in the works too. But read, improve your craft, learn, engage with folks that are similar to you, like you, but not just yes folks that will actually challenge you as well. Florence knows I call them the inner circle. have conversations about getting better yourself. If you're going to be someone that's going to be training other folks, if you're a creator and you are trying to get bigger, better, faster, richer, whatever on this online platform of YouTube, and you're seeing some struggles, you're seeing some delays, go out and do something else. Go out and get on somebody's stage. Go present at eCam's Creator Camp next year. You can't right now because it's already full for this year, but go on stage and present there. Go to Podcast Movement next year and get on stage with Tanya Smith, another one of our co-hosts. Do something to get yourself better. Bringing this plane in, Stephanie Garcia. Tell us a little something in closing. Give us a word of prayer or something. I don't know. Just give us. I'm about to open the
You know what I'm
doors
gonna
of the
say?
church.
I mean, in all honesty, you don't even have to wait for someone to invite you to their stage. Make your own freaking stage. You could go on meetup.com. You could go on Eventbrite. Do it. You could go to your local library. You could do the community room, whatever it is. Just get your voice out there, make that impact. You ain't got to wait for nobody. Nobody's going to give you a permission slip, right? Well, Mr. James Hicks might give you a permission slip. Permission slip says, like, you have permission to go out there and do the damn thing. Do the damn
Right.
thing. You want to do it? Do it. I think what most people fail to realize is that they think they have time. When did you decide that you have all this time? When did you
Yeah.
decide that, like, that time is the one thing that we spend, but we don't know what the balance is. So you got to use it wisely. Don't do that.
No, that deserves a full on screen. I'll let that marinate right there.
Okay. Time is the only currency that we have that we don't know the balance of. So use it wisely.
That's dope.
If you want to do it, do it.
Y'all
It's
hear these
also
gems.
the same it's the same. We all have the same amount of currency
Say
there.
it one more time. You've
When
been
we
itching to
make
say
it
that. Say it.
through,
How many minutes? How many minutes?
1,440. Not a single solitary one of them can you get back. Once it's spent, it's gone. There's nothing you can do. It is the great equalizer. How people use it, what skills they have, how they've grown is the difference in that 1,440 minutes. Nothing else. You can get a whole lot of things back. You cannot get time back. And you cannot get your life back. Make the most of it for whatever that means for you, because it's different for all of us.
Folks, every Thursday we do this. Again, I just got off a plane about a little over an hour ago, and I hit these ladies up and said, "Listen, we're gonna do week 3. We're gonna do this. This is the caliber of folks that we have. This is family, co-host. There's no I. It's team here. High value learning. If you didn't get anything from this, I'm sorry. I don't know what we can do for you. If you didn't get anything from this, please tell somebody. If you did get something, if you found value in this, let me know. If you did not find value in this, still let me know. But this is the kind of conversation that we're having, and hopefully it resonated with Stephanie. You coming back? I didn't scare you away because I or maybe hopefully Florence did, because she comes straight from
if Stephanie lets me come back, I'll come back.
I'll stop.
Lawrence comes straight from the
I'll bring
dome
the snacks.
sometime, then it's on. That's how we do. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we do. This is Technologist Forum. We will see you. Dan, I see. Appreciate you. Subscribe to somebody's channel. That's what it's all about. We'll see you next Thursday. Y'all be good to yourself. We out.